Now usually what you guys see behind me is going to be a wall of PVC enclosures. However, what you guys don't know is that is a small fraction of this room, and today we're going to be switching that up. It's because today is yet again another reptile room tour video. Stick around while we show off some amazing reptiles and some awesome enclosures that they are in. Let's get into it. Kicking this video off, let's talk about the micro shelf. Now this is going to be where we're keeping most of our micro geckos. It's a pretty new thing that we just started doing, I want to say like 2 or 3 months ago when we started getting into the micro gecko game. Kicking that off, we have this 12 by 12 by 18 that is filled with morning geckos. Right now we have a 0.4 group of morning geckos going on. They're doing absolutely fantastic. We've had them for a little bit now, and finally at this point they're getting ready to be a little bit more adventurous. I can sometimes see them basking under the UVB. They've been eating their food, things of that nature. And up next to it we have one of my favorite day geckos right now, and that is going to be P. Lianas, the line day gecko. Very awesome stuff. Still trying to source out a female for him. Unfortunately, we have a couple of other projects that are kind of taken away when it comes to expenses, but it's definitely one on the list that we are going to be doing for 2024. They're chilling in an awesome Toxerium cage, that being the 8x8 by 12, and right below it we actually have the same caging for the Urodactylodes. As known as the chameleon gecko, absolutely awesome little dudes. They're almost ready. I'll probably give them like, let's say another month or two really to make sure that they're full adult size and age. So somewhere around February is when we're going to start pairing these guys and start getting some baby little Urodactylodes of our very own. Right next to it and also below it we have the cave gecko project we're doing. Pretty small project, kind of keep it as like a little side project, not something we're really diving into, but just dipping our toes in, I would say. Absolutely awesome. We still have that oddball looking girl, the one with the white stripes, which is a little bit weird. Pretty much a couple of weeks, I'd say, probably like 10-15 days. We're going to start pairing that one to an adult male, and then we also have some grow out females that unfortunately didn't make the cut this year, but they will be breeding for us in 2025. Also, one dude that I completely forget to make a video on every time I do these reptile room tours is going to be our sulcata tortoise Wilson. You guys haven't seen him for a while. He's still here. He's still doing great. I still remember when this guy fit, like he was like this big and the size of my hand. Now he's literally the size of my hand completely. Absolutely awesome. Right now during the winter, my Wilson's just a little bit, you know, he sleeps a little bit longer, like partial hibernation, I would say. So not as active as he usually is. I kind of miss him just scraping against the window when he wants to come out and explore, but what can you do? People ask me, Dakota, what are you gonna do when this guy becomes full grown? Because obviously he's getting bigger every year, and that's gonna be get a bigger space. Nothing you can do. We're never going to get rid of Wilson. He is an absolutely amazing tortoise, and whatever size enclosure we need, well, we'll just have to figure it out because this dude is here to stay. Moving on, of course, we have a bunch of different reptiles to talk about. Now let's get into this shelf right here. On the top row, we have some very exciting stuff. Number one is going to be that oddball holdback, the only gecko that hatched out in 2022 and the only gecko that I actually sold that came from my private stock. He's doing absolutely awesome. I did make a couple posts about him on Instagram. He's growing great, and it looks like he is going to end up being male, which is exactly what I wanted because I do want to repair that to oddball, try to prove out if oddball is in fact a genetic mutation or just an aberrant pattern. Time will tell. Hopefully 2025 this guy will be big enough and we'll be able to get him going and finally prove out the oddball mutation. On the list we got Hamburger, my White's tree frog, chilling on a 12 by 12 by 18. That's actually the only one that's been used. All these are empty right now. I have this new video idea that we're going to implement and starting, it's going to span 2024. It's going to cost me a lot of money and a lot of time to do, but we'll take it one step out of a time. Something like, think of it as Pimp My Ride, but the reptile version. We'll be going in each enclosure once a month and really decking it out, fully bioactive planted, things of that nature. Just really taking the care and husbandry step to the next level for these guys. Coming down to the second level, we have my pair of girls being the Halmahera green-eyed geckos, a really awesome species. One that, I guess it was really common back then, but I really don't see many of them now, and what's really awesome about these guys is they are both captive bred. CB, what I thought was going to be a pair, but I guess I didn't sex them right. You know, when you're sexing geckos that are younger, it's really a crapshoot. Could go one way or another. It's a 50-50 chance. I'd rolled the dice, and I got 2 girls. It's better than 2 boys, right? With all the odds, I would love a pair, but I'll take 2 girls at the same time. We will be needing a male for these guys. These guys are actually ready to go in a brand new enclosure, that being a 29 gallon. We're actually going to start moving them on the bottom, swapping some stuff around, but that'll happen within the next couple of weeks or so. Right next to it, we have one of two of my quince monitors, this one being the smaller ones. I call him Squirmy because he is not people friendly. He's just a very shy animal. He likes hiding in his little hide, or ironically, sometimes he's dug out the background for this 36 by 18, and he'll go behind there and kind of wedge himself in to hide. Funny dude. Unfortunately, it does look like this one turned out to be male, and I don't need two males. I was really hoping for a pair. We got a bunch of babies. We sold some babies. We kept two, hoping that they were a pair. They ended up not being a pair. So Squirmy will actually be on the site here very soon. I'd imagine spring of 2024 will list him. He's been great for the time that I've had him, but we just don't need two male quinces, unfortunately. Real quick before we get on with this video, I just want to take a few seconds to talk about the Patreon page. Now, over on the Dakota Blue Exotics Patreon page, we have some awesome behind-the-scenes bonus content that I don't show anywhere else, and some great perks as well. One of those perks I'm very excited to talk about. I actually took a lot of inspiration from Flawless Crested geckos, and that membership is going to be the DBCB credit program. I absolutely love the credit program. I'll kind of explain how it works. Pretty much for each dollar that is pledged for that membership goes into a credit account that's personalized for you. For instance, let's say you've been with the credit program for 10 months, which means you have $400 in credit. So if there's an animal you want from me that is $400, you can actually use that credit instead of money, which means you basically get the animal for free at that point. I mean, I guess if we're like using girl math, right? Not to mention there are some fantastic perks on top of that credit program already. That's going to be some discounted percentages off the animals, flat rate shipping. We have some great educational chat boards where we discuss how to build your own gecko reptile room, how to build a gecko breeding business, and how to build a reptile social media. If you want to grow yours, how to start one out the right way, everything that goes into that. Whether you guys are looking to up your knowledge about geckos, get some awesome behind the scenes bonus content, be part of an awesome tight niche community, or maybe you guys just want to see the animals that I have for sale first before anyone else gets to see them, then Patreon's going to be the perfect place for you. That's something that might interest you guys. I have the link right down in the description. That'll take you right to our Patreon page where you can sign up. Thank you guys so much. All right, let's get back into the video. Then running down on the bottom part of this, we've got some absolutely awesome stuff. Number one is going to be a couple of chubby frogs, grumpy frogs. Well, these frogs right here, they're absolutely awesome. I don't know if I ever showed you guys. I have a couple species of frogs. I don't remember if I ever made a video about them, but we do have a pair going on in this little 15-gallon right here. They've been doing awesome. Haven't had anything going on with them. They mostly just bury and hide. It's fun watching them eat, but there's not much more interaction other than that. Soon we have that absolutely beautiful green keeled back baby that we got at the last expo we vended. Awesome little guy. Been working on some taming with him, hand feeding, things of that nature to get him really calm. Still a bit of a flighty baby. We hope to change that again through 2024. Here we have the one, the only, the best boy. That boy is going to be Bert. Of course, Bert, my friendly Tokay, absolutely awesome little dude. I love this dude. Getting some size on him finally, you know, he went through that teenage phase where they just kind of look long and lanky, but now he's finally filling up, getting some size to him. Now, what some of you guys might not know is Bert is actually, he does hold a genetic mutation. He's not a normal. He's actually 100% het patternless. We're hoping in 2024 will be a big year for enclosure builds and tokays. It's probably the sole gecko that I'm going to be expanding, or that sole project. And Bert will be in one of those. We hope to get a powdered blue patternless girl and pair her with Bert to make some either 100% het patternless babies or visual patternless for that year. Coming back up, we got a couple exoterras to talk about. There's actually only two pairs of animals in this little section of the reptile room tour. Number one is going to be my pair of Lianas. This is their overwinter enclosures. Very excited. The time is pretty much now, again, like 10-15 days out. Both of these guys will be moved into a 2x2x2 Zen habitat to start out the very first leachy projects for Dakota Blue Exotics. Cannot wait for this. The female and male are finally big enough. We're going to pair them up in a really nice enclosure that we've been working on. And then finally, well, hopefully, you know, I guess we have to have our fingers crossed for this, some Lianas eggs for the 2024 season. Now, we also have the chahoua geckos. We've had this pair for a couple of years. Did an absolutely fantastic 2022 year. Did an absolutely awful 2023 year. We got 4 or 5 baby chahuas, 0 baby chahuas. So let's hope 2024 will be better. We're actually, instead of doing the tub method, which is what we did last year, I think that was the big issue, we're going to be keeping them in these glass planted exoterras, have some full spectrum T5 high output UVB, and hopefully that'll be a little bit better and we can continue getting some awesome chahoua babies. Coming on over here is when we really start getting into the cool stuff. Now, an honorable mention is going to be the Tegus tent that is right behind us, that being the 8x4x4. The only reason why we're not showing him is They are currently in the Tegu brumation, which means they're just gonna be sleeping the whole time. Don't really want to disturb them, but figured we'd mention that we still do have our Tegus as well. Over here, we've got the awesome male quince. This is the one I've had for the longest right now. He's doing absolutely fantastic. I am pretty much 100%, I would say 75%. Solid 75% sure this is a male. Doing awesome in this 4x2x4 den habitats. You guys saw the build. Here's a video play link, whatever, right down there. We did the custom background. We had a very large 40-gallon aquarium in here. Unfortunately, that aquarium leaked and it got water everywhere and we had to change it. I need to get back into working on filling that up, and then we're gonna figure out how to put it back in, but so far it just has that temporary tub that is just a temporary thing until we can fix that aquarium. Here next to the spare wood, we have wood rack systems. A couple of rack systems. These were actually for our gargoyles when they're not paired. We have the ready to breed males on this side. Rack system right here it's just a couple of grow outs, geckos that didn't make the cut in weight or age for this season. We got a couple of girls and a couple of boys as well, and chilling in this one. I like keeping them in a little bit smaller enclosure so they can focus on getting weight on them, eating the food, the crickets, the crested gecko diet, everything like that until they are big enough for that adult weight to be breeding, in which case they do then go into a larger setup. And this little bit of a tight hallway right here, we have a couple things to talk about. This is just a Zen 4x2, a little sentimental. It was the first reptile enclosure, a company that's ever sent me on a sponsorship. I got this enclosure for free. Nothing's in it because it's actually a wooden build, not a PVC, and I only really work with tropical stuff these days. It actually very soon, pretty much right after the holidays, this will have to be taken down because we are getting a couple more surprises and a couple new enclosures that are going to be actually taking place where this once was. Below it, we've got Viv, of course, everyone's favorite red-tailed boa on the YouTube channel. I should probably take her out more. The only issue is, you know, we're gecko folks. We breed geckos, we work primarily geckos, we own 90% geckos right now, so there really isn't no point of me making YouTube videos along a red-tailed boa when it's not something I primarily work with. It's just something that I own one of. He's doing awesome in the 6x3x20, 18, I can't remember the height of this. 18, it's a really nice enclosure. She can sprawl all the way out and have just as much room as we can possibly give her. The one thing I will mention is I wish I could give her more height. That's definitely one thing that's on the back burner that we will be doing later on. While this enclosure is perfectly adequate for her, she can live her whole life in this size of an enclosure. I have noticed with seeing other videos that red-tailed boas are a little bit semi-arboreal and they do enjoy to climb. We want to make sure we do give that to her within some point of her life being here. But guys, before we keep going, I just want to talk a little bit about the merch that we have right now. This here is going to be the Viking Tokay, and what's awesome is it's a 2-for-1 special. You get Tokay on the front, Tokay on the back. What could be better? If you guys didn't already notice, we got a little banner right down there. That's where you can buy all these awesome merch. We have a bunch of gecko designs, and I believe randomly there also is a chameleon one. Check that out right down there. Let's get back into the video. Moving on, we have the rest of the enclosures. There's a couple more PVC, but we'll just talk about all the PVCs right here. Coming on right here, we have, of course, the favorite when it comes to the Tokay gecko morphs that we work with, and that is going to be the Super Red Tokay. Some very exciting news, and the Patreon members, you guys already know about this. That is going to be, we finally put down a deposit on the new male that will be paired for this girl right here. Very exciting stuff. It's going to be not only a brand new mutation that we are going to have our hands on over here, but this will be a world's first combination that we are going to be attempting when it comes to Tokay gecko breeding. Cannot wait for it. Unfortunately, with most of these Tokay mutations, it is going to be an imported animal, not a captive bred. So while it is an adult gecko, it's a little bit when it comes to like not proper weight. I would say it's a very thin animal. It's going to take, I would say, give it a solid 4 to 5 months to really beef him up, get him into a really nice zone where I feel comfortable breeding him. So you can expect some Tokay geckos breeding that, on said morph to the Super Red at about late summer, fall, I would say. It just depends on how receptive he is to getting him healed up and really going for that breeder size. Of course, that isn't the only 2 Tokays we've talked about. We have a lot of Tokays over here. It's a very big project that we love working with. We have all of our breeders hanging out in these 2x2 Black Meridians in habitat cages. Absolutely fantastic cages. They've been doing great for me. If you guys want to check those out, I do have a link right down in the description where you guys can actually save 10% right now on one of these. Tokay pairs going on. We've got the Green Galaxy pairing, a Reduced Pattern pairing, a Granite to Het Granite pairing, and then of course a Visual Platinum to 100% Het Platinum pairing as well. A bunch of different mutations. We are already starting to get eggs with a couple that still have yet to go, but I know well very soon, so we'll have a bunch of different variety when it comes to not only Tokay geckos, but also Tokay gecko genetic morphs. Right onto this side right here, we don't have anything going on right here. Usually my little Crested gecko thingy tray that helps me like feed the hundreds of geckos that I have is right there, so it kind of takes up spots. We have nothing on the top row right now. On the bottom row, we do have a couple of females. Number 1 being Oddball, number 2 is just a normal girl that we didn't have enough males for, and then number 3 is going to be my high red male to a little bit of a light Oddball pairing. Excited for that one. I really am excited for all of those. We do need a couple more tokays. Like I mentioned, Tokay gecko breeding will be the number 1 thing we'll be looking for expanding on that project, so we'll have a ton more Tokay geckos to breed and produce here very soon within that year. Last but certainly not least, we have the New Caledonian area. Behind me, we're gonna have the holdback and baby area. Up top are gonna be the geckos I produced around 2023 to 2022, things of that nature. Below is going to be some of the younger babies, and then right down here we are going to have all of our 2023 holdbacks. Those being the babies I produced, really awesome things, and I just had to keep them for myself. Right next to us we have one of 2 gecko racks that has been built. Yes, I did finally refresh it, took it all down and built it back up, and check this out guys, you ready? Look at that. Oh my gosh, you ready? Just easily slides. Beautiful. Wow. You can see that video. This was a big failure, and finally have it where these things are able to slide out a lot better. A couple things I would like to do, you guys see like these boards hanging out. We need to get a saw, cut them, and have it just for a little bit more stabilization. It is a little bit rickety, so I want to make sure to have some horizontal structures as well as the vertical to make sure we're really securing that, having a nice rack. Like I mentioned, one of 2, I actually really need to get on building it. Again, 10 to 15 days out. What is Dakota doing? We need that other rack system because we have a bunch more crested geckos to pair within the next couple of weeks. The project I am getting on right now, actually we're working on it. It should be done by the end of the week, and we'll finally have both of these gecko racks going and start pairing all of the rest of the stuff to again hit finally Project 500. And then the last thing to mention is right here, right next to the spare wood that we are using to build the rack. That is going to be our available babies. Right now I believe we have 10 to 15 babies that are still chilling, some absolutely fantastic crested geckos, those being some lily white, het empty back, we've got some tricolors, and of course the many super dalmatians as well. Awesome stuff, great babies. I actually recently slashed the price and I'm now offering flat rate shipping for anyone, so $60 flat rate shipping. Whatever is over I'll cover, and then the babies have always been marked down as well. You guys can check out those available babies over at dakotablueexotics.com. The link will also be down there in the description. Hey, if that wasn't enough gecko content for you guys want to see what this room looked before when I first got here to now 6 months later, you can check that out in that video right there. Or maybe just want to see a playlist of how the reptile room evolutions has, starting with around 30 animals and now ending with over 100. As always, thank you guys so much for taking the time of your day to follow us over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. I will see you guys next time, but until then, goodbye.